Hello and welcome to the second Teachappy book club. And the book that I've chosen this week is this one. It's Teaching Happiness and Wellbeing in Schools by Ian Morris. And Ian Morris, if you don't know, is a secondary teacher at Wellington College in Berkshire. And Wellington College were pretty much the first school in the UK to introduce a happiness and wellbeing curriculum. And that was when Sir Anthony Seldon was the headmaster there. Anthony Seldon, if you've read my book, wrote the foreword to Wellbeing in the Primary Classroom. Why I love this book? Well, this book had a real impact on me kind of personally and professionally. So in my first year of teaching, I started teaching in 2010, and in Easter 2011 I was feeling really despondent. I was pretty much ready to quit teaching because I'd got into make a difference, to kind of positively change children's lives. And I just felt like I was constantly jumping through hoops and just focusing on English and maths to the detriment of everything else. And a friend of mine from Teacher Training College lent me Ian Morris's book and said, "You need to read this." And I read it over my Easter holidays. And there were just so many aha moments. I was just reading it, just thinking and nodding, going, yes, this is why I got into teaching. There were so many kind of ideas that resonated that I literally couldn't wait to get back into school after Easter and just start to run with them. The book is a treasure trove of positive psychology. There is just so much in the book. Just a handful of the topics are developing positive relationships, how to develop resilience in children, developing emotional literacy, the importance of sleep, nutrition, exercise, focus on strengths, on flow, on growth mindset. There's sections on neuroplasticity and neuroscience. There's so much in there. And what I love about it is Ian cites the theory, the research, the evidence, but every section ends with a putting it into practice. So there's practical ideas that you can literally run with when you get back into school. And although the book is written by a secondary teacher and predominantly aimed at secondary schools, I read it as a primary teacher, and the ideas work. You can just tweak some of them and make them age appropriate. Just to give two of the ways that the book has influenced my teaching practice. In the book, Ian says that stillness is probably the most important feature to introduce into school communities. And when I read this section on stillness, it really resonated with me, because Ian says that schools can be busy, hectic places, and that was certainly my experience in my first year of teaching. That he says it's really important to kind of punctuate your day for yourself, but also for your students, with moments of stillness. Moments of just quiet, of reflection, for you and your students to be with your thoughts, your feelings and emotions, maybe taking some deep breaths, just a chance to be calm and to reset before then continuing with your learning. So off the back of reading this book, I introduced a kind of daily morning meditation session. So straight after the register, I was teaching year 2 at the time, we just take a minute. So it really didn't take up, much time off the curriculum, just a minute or two of just stillness. We'd be kind of taking some deep breaths, kind of focusing on breathing and body sensations before then starting our lesson with a greater sense of kind of clarity and calm. The other one that really resonated was the section about philosophy for children. And the need for kind of developing oracy and debating. And so I started to kind of weave in opportunities to have debates in class, to develop children's kind of speaking and listening skills, and kind of using some of the ideas from the book about how you can teach students to be devil's advocate, where you intentionally see the kind of opposite conflicting side of the argument, even if you don't believe it, just to kind of probe and debate even better. So I absolutely love this book. It's one that I would highly recommend. And I just want to end by reading a short section from the end of the book, which talks about the need for teaching happiness and wellbeing in schools. And Ian says, there is a vacuum in education that is stretched open by the emphasis on academic learning and measured outcomes. And this vacuum is what makes it hard for many children to realise their own value and to discover their own sense of meaning in life. Academic learning is a tiny aspect of the range of skills we must acquire as humans in order to flourish and find meaning. And many of these skills of flourishing and of meaning can only be acquired by practicing them and reflecting upon them, not just by learning about them. The teaching of well-being helps to close the vacuum and complete what is missing from education, and it can transform the experience young people have of education and the experience that educators have of young people. So, Teaching Happiness and Wellbeing in Schools. If you've read it, let me know in the chat. Let me know what you thought about it. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And I hope you've enjoyed this Teachappy book club.